I was asked if I would show how I modeled and textured this autopsy bed, and so that's what I'm going to do right now. There's three main steps in this. It's the modeling, the UV unwrapping, and the texturing. We'll see how much we can get done. My screencast keys are on down here, and we're going to get started. I'm going to press 7 to look from the top. Shift A, mesh plane, go into edit mode by pressing tab, and I'm going to press SY. And we're just going to do this by eye. We're not doing any particular measurements. Something like this. Now the thing I need to keep in mind actually is I need an area for the sink and for all this, the faucets, the taps type stuff. So I'm actually going to scale in the Y a little bit bigger, and let's start adding some edge loops, this SX, in order to delineate where things are going to go. So I'm going to go Control R and drag an edge loop up somewhat near the top, and I'm thinking the top stuff will go there, and then I need a Control R, and I'm thinking the sink can go in here. So we'll start with that anyhow. Okay, so I'm gonna lay down an edge loop vertically, Control R there, and then Control B to split it. Make sure I've only got two edges going up and down. If I roll my mouse up, I get more. And I'm gonna pull this out to sort of indicate the sides, the thickness of the sides, like that. And then I'm going to do another edge loop here and drag it so that it's pretty much equal. It won't be exact. You can get it exact if you want. And do another one down here, Control R, and just pull it down and just try to get it roughly equal. Okay, so let's do the sink now by Control R, click, Control B, pull it out, and the sink is going to be about there. It might be a little bit big actually. So let's press 2 and Shift Alt and click there. Just pull it up a little bit. And then I'm going to Shift Alt and click that, Shift Alt and click that, and SX, and pull those in. Now another thing that I want is an area for these dots. So I'm going to make a space there. I'm going to Control R and click there. Control R and click there. So I've got two of them. Shift Alt and click. So I've got both of them selected. And I'm going to pull them in, SX, closer to the sink area, so that I've got this area for the dots. Okay, let's press 3 for face selection and select the sink area and just X and delete it. Delete that face. Okay, so A to select it all, E to extrude and pull down and give the whole thing some thickness. Now let's create the walls. Press 3 for face selection, select, hold Control and click, Control and click. That way you'll select an area up to where you click Control. There, and Control and click there. So we're selecting all those faces. I'm going to extrude them up a little bit. You do extrude, just pull up, not too much, just a little bit, like that. Now we have this edge here from before. We don't need it anymore. So I'm going to press 2, Shift Alt and click. That'll select the edge all the way around. And then press X and choose Dissolve Edges, not just delete edges, dissolve edges. Just get rid of that edge, you don't need it. All right, I want to make this angle in a bit. So I'm going to press Shift Alt and click that edge there, Shift Alt and click there, Shift Alt and click there, and then Shift Alt and click there. So I've got all that inner edge. I'm going to press 7 to look down from the top, and I'm going to press SX and pull it in a little bit, and that'll cause it to slant. I want a gentle slope. So I did it in the X. Now I'm going to press SY. Hold Shift so you move slower and pull it in. Try to get sort of an equal amount. So it's going well. The only thing is now my edges are all kind of bent. They're not very straight. So I'm going to go into wireframe, and I'm going to press 1 for vertex selection. And actually I can do it this way. I can hold Shift Alt and click, and that should get the whole edge. So I Shift Alt and click, and I'm going to scale it in the X so it's all straight. I'm going to press SX 0. I'm going to do the same here, but if I can't get everything because of that, I might do that one in wireframe. So go into wireframe and border select, and then press B and get all of that, and let's SX0. And I can do the same here. Press B again and get all these. Just make sure you're not getting any other vertices, just the ones along this edge. SX0. And this one I could just Shift Alt and click. SX0. So those are straight. Let's straighten these. Border select there. Let's do SY0. Those are straight. SY0. Those are straight. Back in solid view. And this is what we have so far. And I guess it looks okay. All right, it's time to do some beveling. I think I'm going to J to join those. I'm going to select these two and J to join them. That'll give me a slightly nicer curve. And can I get rid of these? I can actually. All right, we're making a slight change. We're pressing 1 for vertex selection, selecting that top vertex and that one. I'm pressing J. That'll join them. Doing the same on the bottom, that one and that one, J. And then press 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click those and dissolve them. And that'll just give us a corner like that. And I like that corner better than what I had here. So select the vertex, J. Select this one and this one, J. 2, Shift Alt and click, Shift Alt and click, X, dissolve edges. Just a little extra step there to clean it up. Select that one and that one, J. And this one and this one, J. And we are just about ready to bevel. Grab those, X, dissolve vertices. Okay, Shift Alt and click that edge. You want to Shift Alt and click and get the whole thing. Shift Alt and click, Shift Alt and click, and Shift Alt and click. And now we're going to bevel. Control B, hold Shift and pull. There's 2. Roll your mouse up so you have 3. And get a little curve like that. Okay, now to continue in edge selection, Shift Alt and click the outermost edge, Shift Alt and click the innermost edge, and we're going to bevel those just a little bit, not too much, like that. So it's looking good, but we're going to need to do this inside edge right here, and we'll probably have to do a few Shift Alt and clicks and look in the corner to make sure it's getting that area. Sometimes it misses it. Shift Alt and click, Shift Alt and click. It's going good. Let's see down here if I get it. Yeah, Shift Alt and click. And we have everything around the inside. Control B, pull. No, that didn't work. Just make sure we got that. There we go. Okay, so we've done our beveling. If I shade smooth now, it's not going to look too good. So what we're going to do, I missed a little piece of that. It's important to get it all. Let's do that again. There we go. I think we got it all. Let's shade smooth. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over my modifiers and search for weighted normal. I'm using an older version of Blender. You may have to search for it. And then auto smooth, which I think for you, you just right click and choose it. Auto smooth. Okay, I'm going to fix this up by coming in here and Shift Alt and click those faces. We're going to actually delete those faces. We're not going to need them. We're going to put something through there. So let's do that right now. Let's come in here and 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click that circle around there and use it. Shift D to duplicate it, pull it up. P to break it out, and let's use this, pull it down a bit to create the sink. E to extrude, just pull down a little ways, take the whole thing and pull it down. We're going to leave it a little bit above, so we're going to create a little lip, and maybe grab these edges here, pull them down a bit more, and then S to scale just a little bit, not too much. You can press F to make a face. Shift Alt and click this. And then we're going to press, I'm going to look from the top, E and S. And it should come out relatively equally. come out something like that. Then E to extrude, pull it down. We're going to take the whole thing and pull it down further. And then in edge selection, number 2, Shift Alt and click this corner, this one, Shift Alt and click this one, Shift Alt and click this one, and then bevel, Control B with 3, and then Shift Alt and click this and this, and bevel that. Control B. Okay, starting to get there. On the bottom, select that bottom face, and very carefully Control B so that the vertices don't cross over, the edges don't cross over. Now let's have a look at the face orientation. You can see that this is all red, so select it, and whoops, Alt N, recalculate outside. Don't worry about the other red you see there right now. Let's bevel the bottom here. 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click there, Control B, and bevel. That'll bevel the bottom, and it's starting to look a lot better. This thing, as you can see, is blue on the inside but red on the outside, and because you may see that, we're going to add solidify as a modifier, just like that. I don't need to make any changes, and I'm actually going to apply that solidify. Go back. So now it's all blue. All right, so there's our table. So far it's looking good. We're going to create the faucet stuff for that, and I just want to make sure. I might scale this a little bit. Yeah, it's fine. Sometimes the edges will poke through, but I think actually what I'll do is just move this above. In object mode, just move it above the X there. Okay, so let's make that faucet stuff. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to select the bed, 3 for face selection, select that face, might as well use that. Shift E to duplicate, pull it up, E to break it out, look down from the top and go into edit mode, and 2 for edge selection, select that edge and just pull it up a little bit, and this edge, just pull it down a bit, and get yourself a rectangle where we can put some stuff. All right, let's round these edges off. Press 1 for vertex selection, and we want to bevel these vertices, so we don't just use Control B, we use Shift Control B, and then hold Shift while you pull away, separate them, and we want to have, I think, 3 vertices in that. So just move your mouse till you get a little bit of a curve, something like that. Select that. Let's extrude it down a bit. E to extrude, pull it down just a little bit, and let's get rid of that bottom face. We don't need it, so X faces. Now that's going to be flipped. So we're going to Alt N, recalculate outside. All right. Select this top face, and let's bevel that. Control B, hold Shift, pull down just a little bit. Just like that, select it all, push it down onto the surface. So we have a little, like a metal plate there. All right, so I'm going to build the other stuff off of this. So let's, actually, let me just move it back a little bit. Okay, so let's bring the 3D cursor there, select it all, Shift S, cursor to select it. Now my 3D cursor is there. I'm going to bring in a plane, go into edit mode, scale it a bit, press 1 for vertex selection. I just like to see the vertices. And I'm going to merge all these vertices into one by pressing M, merge at center. Now I have one vertex right in the middle. I'll use that to make the tap. Just bring it down around to the surface. Press 3 to look from the side. Press E to extrude. Pull it up. So I have a bit of a line there. So I'm making the tap. E to extrude. Pull it over. Go to around the middle of the sink. Doesn't have to be perfect. E to extrude. Pull down a little ways. And I think I may come up a little bit more. And we can adjust that if need be. Okay, let's curve these vertices here. Shift Control B. Pull. And I'm going to make sort of an arc. So if I keep pulling, the vertices are going to overlap. So I'm going to press C for clamp. They will hit, and then they won't overlap. And then roll your mouse up about 3 times or so to get that. Now, I'm not crazy about that yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press M for merge by distance. It will have gotten rid of one. And I'm going to grab, let's see, this. I'm going to pull it back a little ways, make it a bit more of an arc. Maybe I'll grab these and pull them up. And that's one way you can make a tap. So yeah, that's probably okay. So let's see, let's take this and right click, convert to curve. And in the curve dialog box under geometry and bevel depth, hold shift as you click and pull to the right and get the thickness that you want for your tap. Okay, that's all right. I suppose we can shade smooth. Yeah, that should work, although I kind of want it a bit taller. So I'm going to just go into wireframe, I'm going to box select and just pull it up. Something like that. All right, so we're going to make the base of this part. So I'm going to select those two vertices and Shift D to duplicate and P to break it out. So I have another piece of that curve. And I'm just going to increase the width of that. Then I'll come in and I'll select that vertex and just pull it down. So it's a quick way of making like a cylinder that you can use. So that's good there. I'm going to go back into object mode. I'm going to convert that to a mesh, but I'm going to change the resolution from 12 to 3. And then right click and convert to mesh. Come in now, 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click F to make a face. And then let's bevel, Control B. Just roll your mouse back so there's 2, 3. I want 3 edges in there. Okay, now I'm going to go into wireframe and just Shift Alt and click that. Just pull it up because we're going to work on this. All right, I've got that. I'm going to press E to extrude and pull down, and then S to scale, like that. E to extrude and pull down until I hit there. I think that's a bit too much, so I'm going to take this and just pull it down like that, and maybe this one and pull it down, and have that kind of shape. Okay, it's time to bevel these edges. Shift Alt and click, Shift Alt and click, Control B and pull with 3. And that is our connection. Okay, it's a little flat here, so it didn't quite work too well, but I think I can live with that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this vertex and I'm going to press E to extrude and pull down. And then I'm going to select both of those and I'm going to press P to break it out. So this is now a separate piece. It's a curve, so I can increase the size, holding Shift, not too much. Okay, I can come back in and I can take that vertex, I can just pull it up so it just covers that. Let's convert that to a mesh. What am I doing? 3, right click, convert to mesh. I'm going to come in here and Shift Alt and click this edge, F to make a face. I'll go ahead and I'll bevel it. And you can do what you want with this one. What I probably would do is just go E and S, pull it in like that, and then grab that edge and bevel it. And I mean, unless you're going to see underneath there, and I never will. So we got those parts of the curve. And this one I might as well convert right away to a mesh. So let's put 3 on that as well. And convert to mesh. You can do Control 1 for one subdivision if you want. That might be kind of nice. And I think I will do that. And I'm going to go ahead and apply it. And then I'm going to grab this and this. Just before I do that, I'm going to take this, by the way, and Shift D to duplicate it. Pull it over there. We're going to use that. So now take this, this, and Control J. Now we should also come in here and merge by distance, just in case. We should double check this. Okay. Let's make the tap out of this. Let me just come back here and see if I made it any bigger or smaller. It's hard to tell. So we're just going to use this. 3 for face selection. Select that face and go Control plus to expand your selection to there. And I'm going to pull this down to about halfway down or so. All right. 3, select there. Press I to inset and bring it in a little bit. So it scales it in. E to extrude up a ways. E and S, scale it out. E, come up. This is where the handle's going to attach. And then I to inset a ways and just extrude up a little bit, just for a little part on the end. Let's bevel this, Control B with 3. Press 2 for edge selection and select these 2 edges. We're going to bevel them. Control B. We also need to bevel this edge. I'll just use 3 again. A little bit more beveling and we're done. Shift Alt and click this underside edge and this one. That's why you're getting the shading problems. Like that. And the only thing is I think it's a bit tall, so I'm going to go into wireframe and box select this much and just pull it down If you really want to, you could add sort of thread on this. You could go like this. Bevel, just 2, E and Alt S. I don't know if you think that would look good. I'm not going to bother with that. All right, anyhow, let's create the tap itself. Let's just make sure it's not flipped. Okay, the way we're going to do this is select that top face, Shift D to duplicate and pull it out in the X. Look from the front and rotate 90, and then just G. Just position it across from this, S to scale. I'm going to break it out though, P to break it out. Take this and extrude it back in, but get rid of that back face. Select that face and just drag it out to a position you think looks good, and then S to scale and do that, make it a bit bigger. Okay, we're going to bevel this, Control B, pull back something like this, roll your mouse up maybe 3 times to get it nice. Okay, and then for another design element, you can select this face, extrude it in a little bit, not too much, S to scale a little bit, and then bevel this edge and this edge, Control B, with 3. Just make sure you roll back to 3, and you have that. Now, I think it's a little bit fat, so I'm going to scale Shift X just to shrink it down a bit. I could probably live with that. So let's mirror this across this. So select this, Shift S, cursor to selected. Take this and set the origin to the 3D cursor, and then mirror. And then just sort of zoom back and have a look. These may be flipped and would be red. So we'll take those and Alt-N, recalculate outside. Everything's looking good. If it looks okay to you, I'm going to apply the mirror for this and join it to there. I'm just going to move that in a little bit. And I'm going to rotate this like that. And we're going to mirror it across this. So let's take that, Shift S, cursor to selected. Take this, set the origin to the 3D cursor, and then mirror. And we have that. If you want, you can come in here, you can rotate in the Z, and you can do whatever you like. Okay, so we got that part going, looks good. Let's put a little bit of tap-like stuff, pipes or whatever. So we're going to, I'm going to do it off of this. So I'm going to select this bottom face, Shift S, cursor to selected. Just makes it easier. Let's bring in a cylinder and let's make it 16 or 18. I'll go for 18 vertices, and I'll choose nothing for the fill type so that the holes are open. Scale it down until you get the size of sort of like the drain and pipe below. So pull it down a bit. I'm going to look from the side in wireframe and 2, box select the bottom edge and just pull it down to where you think your floor would be. Press E to extrude, come down a bit, scale it out a bit. E to extrude, just come down just a little bit, and that's where it would join the floor. Okay, we're going to bevel this, Shift Alt and click this edge and this edge, Control B with 3 edges, and that's good. And then I don't know that if you'll ever see in there, but I'll come in here and Shift Alt and click that edge. Oh geez, just that edge. I'm going to pull that down a little bit, E and S to come in, E, pull down, S to scale, and then F to make a face. And that's how I'm doing the drain. Shift Alt and click these 2 edges and Control B. And you'll also want to do this one, Control B. You can shade smooth now. Just double check that it's not flipped. That's fine. You can put holes in that if you want, or just leave it. Okay. So now we want to do a couple of other smaller ones. So let's just take this and let's Shift Alt and click those faces and duplicate them. Shift D to duplicate, pull it out, P to break it out. Now we have that. Let's scale Shift Z, not in the Z. Okay, so we have this. Go into wireframe and maybe 1 or 2, box select. Just pull that out. Now that's not in the right place. I want it underneath the taps, so roughly there. Okay, I'm going to press Control 1 to look from the back. I want it underneath like a hot and cold, so kind of like that. Okay, and let's just do the bottom of it. So I'm going to grab here. I'm going to do something similar to this. I'm just going to press E to extrude, come down, S to scale. Maybe bring it all down a little further. And then E to extrude and come down. Okay, and then 2 for edge selection. Shift Alt and click those, and Control B. And there's my little pipe there. And I got my 3D cursor pretty much centered anyhow, so I should be able to set the origin to the 3D cursor and mirror this, and it should go underneath the other one. And that's all I figure I'm really going to need for that stuff there. Okay, I'm going to take the whole thing now again, and I'm going to pull it above the X. Look from the side. That's what it looks like. We can try turning on the shadow if you want. All right, so it does look okay. Let me just double check that nothing is flipped. Nothing is flipped. Okay, there's one more piece to do. Come in here and select maybe this piece there. Shift D to duplicate, pull it down. I'm going to scale it in the Y. Do something like that. Let's break it out. P to break it out. So this piece is going to go up and attach to there somewhere. So I'm going to extrude down a little bit like that. I think I want it a little bit narrower. I don't know. Okay. So Control 7 to look from the bottom. E and S, pull it out. SX, just make it even. So in the X this way, and in the Y. So it's pretty much even, but not too much. That's almost too much. So I'm going to come back in SX, just a hold shift, just a small amount, and SY. Again, just the same amount, small amount. There we go. Okay, E to extrude, pull down, and sort of bring it close to the floor. E and S again. This one can be a bigger one. And then just look that you get it relatively equal. Okay, this one I'm going to pull down though. And I'll go ahead and I'll extrude one more time down. And then X faces, get rid of those bottom faces. And then we can look at this and see it doesn't quite look even. And so I'm going to select this edge, Shift Alt and click, Control plus to there. I'm going to look from the bottom. I'm even going to wireframe. It looks like there's more room here than here. So I'm going to go SX and just try to even it up. It's pretty close. Okay. Let's focus on that with the slash key. Go into edit mode 3 and select that face. X faces, get rid of that. 2 for edge selection. Shift Alt and click this edge. Shift Alt and click. Shift Alt and click. Shift Alt and click. That goes all the way up. We're going to bevel this. Control B and pull. I'm using 3 again. And now we're just going to bevel the other edges. Shift Alt and click, and that one. We'll do those two like that. Oops. And then we'll come in here, and we need to Shift Alt and click there and there. Control B, just a little bit. And we should be good. Let's just make sure that that's making contact. And then you can figure out to get it to touch the ground. And there is our autopsy bed. I hope it's wide enough. This part is bugging me a little bit. I mean, sometimes you have to go in and you have to make adjustments. I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to SX, just widen it a bit. Now let's see what happened there. I didn't get all of what I wanted. So let's do that again. This part is optional. I just want all those and all those. SX. There. Okay, I think I can live with that. All right, over to unwrapping. We're going to make this easy. I'm going to select all of the bed section here for the autopsy table part. I'm going to press U and Cube project. Select it all, and I'm going to pack. I'm just going to move that out of the way. I'm going to press H to hide that because it's done. I'm going to select this, U, Cube project, select it, and pack that and move it off to the side and hide that. Let me do the same thing on this. I've applied the solidify. I'm going to cube project it and pack. Make sure you select it all. Just move it out of the way. H. All right, these things, I'm just going to look from the back side of this. Now this one has the drain in it, whether or not you really needed it. So I'm going to select that face and Control E, mark seam. 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click an edge. Should go all the way up through and into there. Control E, mark seam. Let's try that. Select it all. U, unwrap. Now that gives us this. And this thing, Control L, I want to straighten. Now you can do this by hand. I am going to use UV Squares, the paid add-on. It's not absolutely critical that you do this, but that's what I've done, and I've straightened that. For this one, we should be able to just Shift Alt and click there. Control E, mark seam. Should be no top or bottom. Select it. It's mirrored. Unwrap. You get this. Once again, you can straighten it if you like. It's not a bad idea. I'm just going to do that. Let's move it out of the way. So I'm going to hide that. I'm going to hide that. This one, I think to do this one, I would prefer to select the top. Control E, mark seam. You know what? We could just cube project the whole thing without a seam. And let's try just pack. Yeah, it does a nice job of that. Let's hide that. These ones, some of them will take a little bit more work. So for this one, I'm going to Shift Alt and click and mark seam there. But I have this circle up here, so I'm going to Shift Alt and click there, mark seam, and unwrap it. I really do want to take this and straighten it as well. Okay. Now, for this one, I'm just going to mark a seam down the middle of this, Control E, mark seam. If I unwrap this one, I'm going to get this, and I want to straighten that as well. It's so much easier with the add-on, but you can do it otherwise. Where I put the seam doesn't really matter. I put it at the front. So I'm just going to Control E, mark seam. Let me just zoom in. And I thought this one had a top to it. What you can do is you can either isolate that, or you can select a little bit of this like that, and you can go H to hide it. I can select this, Control E, mark seam, Alt H, bring that back. Just select this. I just want to check this out. See, that's not very straight. That's because I have this. That's fine, and it doesn't really matter anyhow. So it's not even really going to make a difference if they're all straight or not. Okay, but I've done that. We're going to pack it all in just a minute. So I'm just going to hide that. These are the last things here. Fortunately, we only have to do one, and the way I'm going to do this is with an edge there, Control E, mark seam. Okay, and then let's come up, get this circle, Control E, mark seam. And what I like to do on this one is I like to sort of break it up into pieces by taking the middle of a lot of these curves. You don't have to do this many, but if you do, sometimes you can get a nice effect. And for this one here, I'm just going to mark a seam underneath each of them, roughly underneath. Mark seam. I'm going to come in here. So many edges there. I don't need that many, but Control E, mark seam. And this one. Let's try that and see what it looks like here. Okay. So you see all these pieces here? It's nice if you can straighten these out just by selecting them and using this add-on, UV Squares. It's worth the money to make it so quick. And then everything will pack better. And I'm just going around straightening everything I can. Even if you don't, you could probably still texture this, and it very well may just take like a metal texture and dirt and stuff. Okay, but it's nice for packing when things are straight. So just a little bit more to get this done, and then we're on to the texturing, which will be very straightforward. Okay, And I want to get this one. I'll go ahead and do a pack on that. I'm going to bring everything back now, and I'm going to select it all and press A over here, make sure I've got everything, and I'm going to pack, and there's everything packed. Now, whether or not it's a good pack and the stuff that needs a lot of textile density gets it or not, we're just doing it. All right, we're going to see how this turns out. All right, so now it's time to export an FBX of this. So this is autopsy table video, selected objects, mesh, export, over to Substance Painter, file, new. Make sure this is OpenGL, and autopsy table video, and bring it in. Okay, there it is. Cool. Okay, I'm going to scroll down, bake mesh maps at 2K, uncheck ID and thickness, and bake. You may have your favorite smart material, metal material that you want to use on this. What I will do is just, let's see, metal. Let's see, what if I do iron grinded? What does that one look like? Okay, iron powder, no. Grainy. What if I, let's see. Just a little bit. All right, let's start with that. Let's drop the metal color here and the roughness up a little bit. Okay, and then on this I'm going to add a filter, and I will use just this matte finish rough to give a little bit of imperfection to it. Drop the brush intensity. We'll start with that. Let's add some dirt to this by adding a fill, color and roughness. Drag the roughness up, color sort of a dark brown, and we'll try the generator. Add a generator, the dirt generator, and just lower that so we get something like this, especially in the sink and around the tap and stuff. That's good. I like that. And we could try just alt color and adding, we could try a generator for metal edges and just see how well it takes. That lightens up the edges a little bit here and there. It's probably okay. I like it, so I'm going to leave it. And that's the main metal stuff. We can add some scratches to this if we want. Let's add color and height. Drop the height a little bit. Color, I like to do black against metal, but you don't have to. Black mask, a fill, and in the grayscale I'm going to search for scratches and use this last one here and just bring down the balance. Let's go ahead first of all though and bring this up to 2K. Okay, and then change that. Just have a little bit of something here and there. And now I want to put the holes in this. Okay, so the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to create a fill and a black mask, and I'll decide what I want on that in a bit. But first of all, I just want the area. So I'm going to click my polygon fill tool, come over here, and I want to be on the second one. And this was the area. So I'm just clicking these spaces. This is the area where we're going to put those dots. Okay, back to the brush. Okay, so the dots or holes, whatever, are going to go in there. There actually are going to be dots. And so what I want to do is I want the dots or the holes only there. So I'm going to need to create a folder, drag that into the folder, add a black mask to the folder, and just once again, just indicate where they're going to go. And then we won't get them all over the model. We'll just get them in those areas. Okay, so back to here actually. And for this, I'm going to want color, height, I think color, height, and roughness. Height I'm going to drop down around a third maybe. Roughness I'm going to go all the way up. And the color is going to be black. Okay, so click on the mask, add fill, grayscale, reset this and choose dots. And I'm going to use this metallic gray round. And I'm going to bring up the tiling. And I'm going to bring up the scale here. I'll try 3. Not bad. And come down here and adjust the scale, maybe make them a bit smaller. And that's the general idea right there. Okay, so if you have a look at the one that I did, there it is. Okay, I might have used a slightly different metal. And you can experiment with the metal too down here. Just come back and see, you know, what is it like if you try that metal or this metal. I actually like that one right there. Okay, keeping in mind lighting will really influence this as well. So that is how I made the autopsy bed. Hope that's helpful. I went a little quick at times. All right, so we're going to leave it at that, though. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.